everybody, and thank you so much for tuning into Amwell's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee's podcast series, DE&I Dialogue. These conversations are spotlighting the voices of fellow Amwellians and their unique experiences as we spend this year together, really celebrating various U.S. Heritage Months, and this month is Women's History Month. And I'm so excited to be your host of this month's podcast. I'm Rachel Draper, for those who don't know me. I've been a recruiter here since 2018, and I'm so excited to introduce Annaleigh Flynn, who I have had the absolute pleasure of collaborating with in the past, working with before. I'm really excited to get people to know you who don't, and to really introduce you. So take it away.
Hi, Rachel. So great to be in your presence again. And hi to our listeners. My name is Annaleigh Flynn. I'm a 29-year-old first-time mom and wife to my husband, Trevor, of 2.5 years. We actually met in elementary school and have been best friends for the last 23 years. And together we have our 9-month-old son, Theodore John Flynn, but we call him Theo, and our 8-year-old cattle dog, Jack.
Wow. Well, what a story to be with your husband and best friend for 23 years. And I'm so excited to hear a little bit more about your journey with your family and with Amwell too, and your career. So what do you like to do for fun, out of interest?
Yes. Great question. Absolutely love to spend my days with family, ideally somewhere outside, hiking, or just kind of taking in the beautiful scenery of the rural Virginia area that we live in. I also have some passion for holistic nutrition, and I was a past personal trainer that you'll hear a little bit about today. So you can really find me in the kitchen cooking. We source our ingredients locally, and I've even dabbled in some sourdough baking recently.
Whoa, how have they turned out?
Pretty good, a little flat, but I'm working on the recipe.
Awesome. So okay, tell us what made you attracted to joining this month's podcast?
Yes, I joined this podcast because the topic of women's health is actually super important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just hope that by sharing my recent experiences, more specifically in postpartum and pregnancy, that I can really shed some light on how women can be advocates for themselves in women's health. And also to show my perspective on what it's been like to be a female in healthcare IT. Also want to touch on all the great things that Amwell is doing to prioritize women's health.
Wow. Amazing. I'm really curious too. How did you find solutions design as a career or pathway?
Absolutely. It's actually a pretty interesting story. My journey to solution design was super unique. I started in college with a major of kinesiology, which is the study of kinetics and movement, and kind of found myself not really passionate about that trajectory anymore. So I actually left the 4-year institution I was at and got a job as a personal trainer at a local gym. And I really enjoyed the work that I did one-on-one with individuals. I'm such a people person. So I was kind of figuring it out and happened upon this office management position for a physical therapy company. I just wanted a little bit more stability in my work-life balance. Personal training can give you some kind of crazy hours. And so through that, I discovered the world of healthcare administration. I don't think it's something that you kind of just happen upon in college. No. You really have to find it in your life experiences most often. So began taking some online classes while working at that physical therapy office. And then I came across the job of demo specialist at Avizia. And so Avizia was actually acquired by Amwell back in 2018. And so through that roller coaster ride, I found myself on the solution design team, where I currently sit as a senior solution consultant, really helping craft solutions for our clients to meet these really complex industry needs.
Thank you so much for that description. I think I can't imagine that your story and journey doesn't touch at least one or two of our listeners, just knowing that you didn't take a direct path from school to then getting a job in the corporate world. You kind of took a detour and then ended up being where you are. And I think for me, that is just so inspiring. I'm just curious, you mentioned, being a woman in the space. Have there been any mentors along the way that have maybe offered you guidance on where to take your career or how to shape it, just being able to maybe be taken seriously in your role or whatever the case might be for you? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yes, thank you, Rachel. There were two fabulous women that I need to call out specifically, Jackie Bush, the former VP of Solution Design, and Heather Waters, who is the current Director of Clinical Design, have been truly inspirational to me along my career journey. Both were actually integral in the hiring process at Avizia. They saw something in me, and just have been able to help and mold my career along the way. I've really valued their mentorship and just see what it means to be a female in this space and how you can just climb the ladder successfully. Their personal achievements and professional achievements alike really show me what's possible for myself. And I hope that I can instill that level of confidence in anyone who I may mentor in the future.
Do you think that is in your future?
I hope so. I do think my journey is unique. And of course, now being a mother and balancing the work-life balance, it is something that I look to Heather Waters specifically. She's a great friend and great companion. And she shows me, among many other mothers at Amwell, that is truly possible.
Wow. I can't wait to see who you mentor in the future.
Thank you.
Yes, you're going to be great. I know. I am really curious around really just your experience within healthcare tech with clients. And more recently, you've been a patient receiving care as you went through your pregnancy. And so being from healthcare and the technical industry, how has that really impacted your journey as a pregnant person and then subsequently giving birth?
Great question, and maybe a long response. But I think just kind of the day-to-day that we see with our clients, it's really about access to care, but more importantly, it's about the quality of that care. It's about patients feeling like they are seen and heard. And candidly, some of the things I'm about to share, really in the beginning of my journey to starting my family, that was not the case for me and my husband. The journey of pregnancy and postpartum has honestly been the greatest achievement of my life, but really just because of everything that we went through to get here.
Yeah.
It was not an easy road, unfortunately. We had a lot of trials that we had to face. We had providers that shut the door and said they really couldn't do much to help us. And so that's very discouraging, of course, as a patient. And it kind of does force you to look at the situation and see what you can do to find someone that will actually hear and listen to your concerns. So prior to finding that help in the healthcare space, my husband and I actually went on a full lifestyle change rampage. We eliminated some toxins in our home and our life, got really into holistic nutrition, as I mentioned, and just became super intentional about, how we eliminated stress in our life too. And we even got into some functional medicine and practiced chiropractic care today, which has been just absolutely instrumental in change. But luckily, we got routed back into a wonderful system, midwifery and OBGYN practice. They really heard us and they helped us achieve our goal of becoming pregnant.
Wow. And is there any advice that you would give somebody, perhaps maybe a disenfranchised community, that didn't have the tools that you have at your disposal? Is there any advice you could offer to them as they maybe foray into a pregnancy journey?
Yes, I do have some advice for our listeners looking to find resources to help them along the way to their journey of starting their family. And just wanted to again give another personal account for the things that me and my husband did. So, along the way of finding that midwifery and OBGYN clinic that ultimately helped us tremendously in our journey, we did use a couple of additional resources as well. A piece of literature I'll talk about a little bit later in the podcast here, and some of the community assets that we found very helpful to us as well. I think a lot of times families that are going through infertility feel very, very alone, and they do not want to open up to their peers about the struggles that they're facing. However, we found that once we did open up to a community of infertility warriors as well, we became overwhelmed with an abundance of resources in the best way. Really, just getting back into the fold of our community and learning about the things that could help us, help our health, and help our journey to successfully starting our family. The things that helped us the most, however, in terms of resources, was most definitely content we found online that was reputable medical resources to be able to learn about what is infertility, how can I help myself, and just improve my chances of starting my family naturally, and also trusted individuals in the birth space. My husband and I utilized a doula as part of our birth experience, and it just overall enhanced the self advocacy and awareness that we had of the choices that we could make for ourselves. And of course, just trust. Trusting your instincts, trusting your gut, and really believing that there are individuals out there and providers out there who are willing and ready to help you succeed in any of your health ventures, as well as ready to listen to your concerns. I think speaking more specifically around resources and the things that need to be built back into the healthcare system to help patients really falls into the buckets and categories that Amwell is really attempting to design around our patient care journeys. Building out automated care pathways to address patient concerns, get them in front of a provider instantaneously with telehealth visits, and of course, building specific programs to help populations that may be feeling the pressures of navigating the health space on their own. So, in summary, really just advocating for yourself as a patient, learning how to do so from your community, and asking the right questions to get to a trusted provider that you feel will ultimately help in every single facet of your health.
I completely agree. I think having agency over your own healthcare journey is incredibly important, and especially for anybody who maybe hadn't had the best experience within the healthcare system prior. I am curious as well, just based off of your experiences in healthcare, working at Amwell, how, if at all, has your view of Women's History Month changed?
Oh, it is forever changed. I think, yes. I mean, the inner strength that a woman can find to birth a baby, climb the corporate ladder, or do both is honestly nothing short of amazing. I do think that Amwell is the pinnacle of supporting women's health, just from the immersive healthcare offerings that they give to the public, their clients, and employees alike, such as lactation services that I capitalized on, behavioral health, and other specialized programs and counseling, like I mentioned. They also really value the family unit. The benefits that parents have at Amwell to take leave and spend time with their family initially upon growing it is just wonderful. They do recognize the balance between work and life.
Wow. So it sounds like Amwell really influenced your view of Women's History Month too, which is
I think
great.
so. Yes. I mean, you hear all the time that the United States has such an issue with parental leave policies
Yeah.
and paid leave policies. And that can hinder an individual from wanting to start their family if they don't feel supported by their employer. So that is luckily not the case of Amwell.
Or even future success too. Yeah.
Correct.
Um, Completely agree. Thank you so much for explaining how Amwell and your view of Women's History Month has really been shaped by your experiences. I think that's pretty powerful stuff, actually. And I think a way maybe for a lasting impact or something tangible for people to take away is we often ask people for any piece of media that you feel portrays anything reflecting your experience or something that maybe you feel close to, whether it's a book, a song, a movie. Is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with?
Yes, I have a piece of literature that I found really impactful in my journey, and it is the book Woman Code by Alyssa Vitti. This book goes into kind of the foundational elements of women's health and really helps those who identify as a woman to bring forth real and tangible change in their lives. More specifically, this book was impactful to me in just paraphrasing the components that were around the diet and lifestyle changes and self-advocacy for really finding the help that I needed to begin my journey into motherhood. But it doesn't really stop there. I think women's health is for life. And so the impacts that this book made are just going to be fundamentally done throughout the course of my entire life and shared, of course, with those that I love.
And now all of our listeners, I hope. I know I'm going to check this book out. And it sounds like it also gave you maybe an empowerment to really take control over your own body and what you need, rather than just blindly saying yes to whomever is telling you to do. And it ultimately got you Theo, which is great.
The best gift of all.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing your story and how you got to where you are. I think a couple of things that I've taken away from this conversation specifically is mentorship is so key, and being able to speak up and advocate for your own quality and your own healthcare journey is super important to success in whatever endeavor you're carrying on, whether it's people who identify as women's health or it's who knows, whatever your healthcare journey looks like to you. Ultimately, it's self-advocacy, and in that comes a lot of empowerment, I think, and being able to do your own research. So thank you so much again for joining the podcast. I hope it touches everybody as much as it's touched me, and I'm again just really excited for everybody to get to know you and your story. So this is one of many podcasts to come from the DE&I Dialogues. So everybody, please stay tuned for what's more to come next month. Thank you so much.